The studio of Lorraine buzzed with its usual early morning energy, camera crews adjusting their angles, producers whispering last-minute reminders, and assistants hurrying across the bright pink set. Lorraine Kelly, calm as always, stood by the makeup table as a stylist fixed the final stray strand of her hair. She glanced at the clock. 8:55 a.m. 5 minutes until she went live with one of the most anticipated interviews of the week. Simon Cowell, the legendary talent judge, the blunt critic, the man whose raised eyebrow alone could either make or break a career. He was known for his charm, his sharp wit, and, when pushed, his temper. Lorraine had interviewed him countless times over the years, but today something felt different. There had been whispers, rumors of disagreements backstage during his latest show's production, tension with fellow producers, a mysterious project he refused to reveal, and growing pressure from the media. She sipped her tea and exhaled slowly. "It's just Simon," she told herself. "You can handle him." But even as she reassured herself, a production assistant rushed toward her. "Lorraine," the young woman said breathlessly, "Simon's here." Before Lorraine could reply, Simon Cowell emerged from the hallway wearing his usual black t-shirt, sunglasses still on despite being indoors. But something about him seemed off. His jaw was clenched, his steps quicker, sharper, as if every second of his morning had irritated him. "Simon," Lorraine greeted him warmly. "Lovely to see you." He lowered his sunglasses, revealing tired eyes with a spark of impatience. "Morning, Lorraine. Let's get this over with, shall we?" Lorraine raised an eyebrow, just slightly, but didn't comment. Instead, she gestured for him to take a seat on the soft interview couch. Cameras adjusted. Microphones were clipped on. Producers signaled the countdown. Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The cheerful theme music played, and Lorraine smiled into the camera. "Good morning, everyone. Today we're joined by the one and only Simon Cowell, who is here to talk about his latest television venture and what fans can expect in the coming months." The camera shifted to Simon. He smiled politely, though his fingers tapped his knee with barely contained irritation. "Simon, thank you for being here," Lorraine began. "Pleasure," he said, though the words sounded mechanical. Lorraine continued smoothly. "There's been a lot of chatter lately, about new projects, changes in your judging panel, and even some backstage disagreements. You've always been very open, so let me ask." Simon cut her off. "Lorraine, I came here to talk about the work, not the gossip." The audience in the studio went quiet. Lorraine blinked once, choosing her words carefully. "I'm simply asking what viewers want to know. There have been confirmed reports from your team." "Reports blown out of proportion," Simon said sharply. "You know how your industry works." Lorraine let out a light laugh. "My industry? Simon, you're in the same world. I'm in the business of creating stars," he replied. "Not spreading rumors." A soft murmur rippled across the crew. Lorraine held her composure, but a firmness slipped into her tone. "Well, Simon, our viewers appreciate honesty. And transparency. So let me rephrase, how would you describe what's going on behind the scenes?" Simon leaned back, a smirk forming. "I'd describe it as none of anyone's business." The tension in the room thickened. Lorraine tried again, keeping her voice steady. "Simon, we're live. You've always been direct, but you're being unusually evasive today. Because you're asking ridiculous questions," he snapped. The camera operator glanced nervously at the producer. The producer, in turn, motioned frantically for Lorraine to steer the conversation elsewhere. But Lorraine was not one to be pushed around, not by guests, not by publicists, and certainly not by Simon Cowell. "Let's move on, then," she said, though her smile tightened. "Your new show, Future Icons, has already stirred excitement. But some members of the press claim the format is too similar to your older shows. What do you say to that?" Simon exhaled sharply. "You see, more negativity." "It's not negativity," Lorraine countered. "It's criticism. And criticism is part of the business." "I don't need a lecture on criticism, Lorraine," he interrupted. "I built my career on it." "And yet," Lorraine said coolly, "you seem very defensive today." A stunned silence fell over the entire studio. Simon stared at her, jaw tightening. "If you want a dramatic headline for your show," he said slowly, "you could have simply asked for one instead of trying to provoke me." Lorraine set her papers down. "I'm doing my job, Simon." And I'm done with this circus, he said, suddenly standing up. The crew gasped. Lorraine rose from her seat, startled. Simon, where are you going? We're still live. He removed his microphone and dropped it on the couch. Good luck with the rest of your show. Simon, Lorraine called after him, but he was already walking off the set. The cameras caught the stunned expression on Lorraine's face just before the producer cut to an emergency commercial break. Backstage, chaos erupted, and Lorraine Kelly, still standing at the center of her bright studio, whispered to herself. What on earth just happened? The moment the cameras cut to commercial, the studio exploded into movement. Assistants rushed across the floor, producers argued in hushed but urgent tones, and Lorraine stood frozen, her heart pounding. She had interviewed world leaders, Hollywood legends, controversial politicians, but she had never had a guest walk off her show. Lorraine, are you okay? One of the producers asked, rushing to her side. I'm fine, she said quietly, though her shaking hands suggested otherwise. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and forced a smile. We still have a program to finish. But the chaos backstage told a different story. Simon Cowell marched through the corridor, still fuming. Crew members pressed themselves against the walls to give him space. His sunglasses hid most of his expression, but the tightness in his jaw said everything. Simon, hold on. A man called from behind. It was Daniel, one of his senior managers. He jogged to catch up. You can't just walk out like that, not live on TV. Watch me, Simon muttered, not slowing down. Daniel blocked his path. This is going to blow up everywhere. Social media, tabloids, entertainment channels. Simon finally stopped. Do you think I care about a few headlines? A few. Simon, this is Lorraine Kelly. Her show reaches millions every morning. Simon didn't reply for a moment. Then he looked away, anger giving way to something more complex, something like exhaustion. I shouldn't have come today, he muttered. Daniel frowned. What's really going on? Talk to me. Before Simon could answer, another staff member approached timidly. Mr. Cowell, Lorraine's producer wants to know if you'll return for a closing statement. Just to calm things down. Simon let out a short, humorless laugh. Not a chance. He turned and headed for the side exit, leaving the worried crew behind. Meanwhile, back on set, Lorraine sat in her chair as the makeup artist blotted the sheen from her forehead. 30 seconds until we're live again, the floor manager called out. Lorraine's mind raced. Should she address what just happened? Should she pretend nothing had occurred? She had always prided herself on professionalism, but this situation was unprecedented. When the commercial ended, she smiled into the camera. Well, she began delicately, if you're just joining us, we had a rather unexpected moment earlier with Simon Cowell. These things sometimes happen live on TV, and we hope everything is all right with Simon. She kept her tone calm, but the viewers at home were already flooding social media with reactions. #Simon Walkout was trending within minutes. Lorraine moved on with the next segment, though she could barely focus. Her producer signaled from behind the camera that things were under control, but the tension hanging over the set said otherwise. When the show finally ended, Lorraine exhaled deeply and headed to her dressing room. She needed a moment alone. But when she opened the door, she found someone waiting for her. Daniel. She stiffened. If you're here to argue, save it. Daniel raised his hands. I'm not here to fight. I just wanted to apologize on Simon's behalf. He wasn't himself today. Lorraine softened slightly. He insulted my team and walked out on my show. I know, Daniel said quietly. But there's more going on behind the scenes than you realize. She crossed her arms. Like what? Daniel hesitated. He's under pressure. A lot of pressure. Personal matters. Contract issues. Media attacks. He's barely sleeping. Everything is getting to him. Lorraine blinked. Why didn't he say any of that? Because he's Simon Cowell, Daniel said with a sad smile. He doesn't like admitting he's struggling. Lorraine sat down slowly. For a moment, the anger in her chest eased and was replaced by something else, concern. I wasn't trying to attack him, she said. I was just doing my job. I know, Daniel replied. And he knows too. But he's wound up so tightly right now, the smallest spark sets him off. Lorraine sighed. So what now? The media's already on fire. Daniel nodded. We'll handle the PR. But Simon, he might not be able to. Before Lorraine could ask what he meant, a sharp knock came at the door. A young assistant poked her head inside. "Lorraine, you need to see this." Lorraine and Daniel followed her to the control room. On the large screen, a breaking news alert flashed. Simon Cowell abruptly walks off Lorraine's show, sources report behind-the-scenes meltdown. Below it, leaked footage, shot on a crew member's phone, showed Simon storming backstage. Lorraine froze. Daniel's face drained of color. "This is bad, very, very bad." Lorraine turned to him. "Daniel, this won't just be a scandal." He met her gaze. "No," he agreed quietly. "This might destroy everything he's been working on." And deep inside, Lorraine felt a sinking sensation. Because she knew the world was about to witness a crisis far bigger than a fiery TV exchange.